What's on, ladies and gentlemen? My name's Ross, I like games, and today we need to take a look at a winning blue deck. You see, BT9 X Record is out over in Japan at the moment, and it turns out one of the new cards in that set was MetalGarurumon X-Antibody, and it turns out that that is actually legit and good and gone and led to a win. Shout out to PAO card _Hatchi for sharing this winning deck list, and the lovely folks over at DTCG Review for helping me to find it. So we should start off then having a little bit of a look at the Digitama. Kind of makes sense to start at the beginning, right? And what we've got is, instead of the regular 4-1 split, we've just got a 4. No 1, just a 4. It is the Sunamon from BT5. On your turn, if this Digimon's name contains Garurumon or Omnimon, you get 1,000 extra power. And obviously, you know, I've told you we're going into a Garurumon deck, a MetalGarurumon X-Antibody, but obviously we've got a little bit of Omnimon in here as well. Generally, when we can have some Omnimon in, we do. So yeah, this kind of makes a little bit of sense. And you only play the 4 because you want to make sure you draw into everything you need every turn. None of this having the wrong Digitama. So moving over into level 3s, I'm going to be perfectly honest with you, ladies and gentlemen. It's a bit of a Gabumon fest. Again, this might not actually surprise anyone. So what we've got coming in here is a full playset of the Gabumon X-Antibody. That can Digivolve as a 0 cost from Gabumon, and there's plenty we can Digivolve into, or from. And when you play or Digivolve, you reveal 3 cards on the top of your deck, add an X-Antibody option card and a card with Garurumon or Omnimon in its name from among them to your hand. It's giving you extra consistency. It's allowing you to have access to those cards more easily. That's got to be a pretty good thing. We've then got a playset of the Gabumon that came around in Starter Deck 8. That's your old Force Veedramon Starter Deck. On all turns, while you have 8 or more cards in your hand, you gain 1,000 power. And I have suggested more than once that trying to keep 8 cards in your hand is going to be difficult, but I've also told you that if you can pull it off, this becomes a very, very powerful card indeed. And then we've got one more playset of Gabumon. It is the Gabumon that came around in BT5. When you play, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, add a Digimon with Garurumon in its name, and a Digimon with Omnimon in its name from among them to your hand. So not the first one we've seen that is giving you extra consistency here. And then what we're doing here is very clear. We are trying to get up to our MetalGarurumon, our Omnimon, and we're playing a bunch of cards which are boosting power, and we're playing a bunch of cards which are giving us extra consistency, which is going to help us to get up to those cards a bit more easily, which is clearly the kind of thing we're looking to do here. And then one more Gabumon, just a singlet of the one from Starter Deck 2. When attacking, you discard a Digivolution source from the bottom of one of your opponent's level 5 or lower Digimon. Clearly it's not the preferred Gabumon, this is a, well, to put it bluntly, a 13th Gabumon. Yeah, apparently 12 wasn't enough. But we got playsets of the ones we really want, and then one of these chucked in just to help. And if you think you're starting to look a little bit, well, repetitive, it might be, because if we look at level 4s, it is a Garurumon party, quite frankly. Just like we saw a whole bunch of Gabumon in the level 3s, we see a whole bunch of Garurumon in the level 4s. So we've got a playset of the one that is a promo, one of the early magazine promos. If this Digimon's name contains Garurumon, when attacking, draw a card. Well, I've already said that one of our Gabumon gives you an advantage when you've got 8 or more cards in hand. We're going to need some draw power, and I mean, decks generally need draw power, right? This is going to give you that draw power. This is a very useful card indeed. We've then got just 3 copies, not quite a playset, but not a million miles away, of the one that came around in BT5, and that's the one that when you Digivolve, if you've got Gabumon in your Digivolution cards, you gain a memory. That's good. You're going to have Gabumon in your Digivolution cards, it's the only level 3s you play in, so you're going to gain a memory, which is nice. It's basically a 1 cost to Digivolve. And then on all turns, while this Digimon has Garurumon or Omnimon in its name, it gains 1,000 power. And as we've mentioned many times, it is definitely going to. So a 1-cost to Digivolve that's going to boost your power, that is going to help. And then we've got your Garurumon X-Antibody. Because, you know, why would you not, ladies and gentlemen? This seems to be working quite nicely. This is the one that can Digivolve as a 0-cost from Garurumon, bearing in mind you'll draw a card so you're not losing out in terms of hand size. And then on all turns, when this Digimon with Garurumon or Omnimon in its name would be deleted by battle, you can trash 2 cards with the same level in this Digimon's Digivolution cards to prevent that deletion. So basically, when you're battling, if you would be deleted, if your opponent's trying to take you out, what you do is you just trash both your Gabumon and your Gabumon X-Antibody and you survive. And then the next time you trash your Garurumon and your Garurumon X-Antibody and you survive. And because you can basically do it twice here, this is going to help you very, very nicely indeed. I adore this combo. It seems a little bit broken, but let's not argue, it seems to be working. And then I'm afraid if we pop up into level 5s, we're going to see a very, very similar thing, because it is a Garurumon party. So we've got a playset of the Garurumon that came around as a promo. This was the other half of the magazine promos. And incidentally, right, these came as magazine promos together, and they were box topper promos for Booster 1.0 and 1.5 for us. And I love when they release these pairs of promos and then I see them popping up in winning deck lists. That makes me very happy. This one, when you're attacking once per turn, if this Digimon's Digivolution source contains Garurumon, you become active. And it will. And then on your turn, while you have 8 or more cards in hand, you gain Security Attack +1. Well, we're already pretty confident we're going to be keeping 8 cards in hand from the previous skill we saw, so now you get Security Attack +1 as well. That seems to be working rather nicely indeed. And to continue another theme, we've got Garurumon X-Antibody. You can Digivolve for 0 memory from Garurumon, so you've either got a regular level 5 or a level 5 that goes into a level 5. And then when you're Digivolving, you can unsuspend this Digimon, and then if this Digimon has Garurumon or X-Antibody in its Digivolution cards, you return one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon to their hand. So we're getting rid of Digimon, and we are unsuspending, getting extra attacks. It does what a lot of other stuff in the deck does, but that's a very good thing, because the themes are strong, and this is a good card. And then as we move up into level 6s, again, it is a MetalGarurumon party. We're not mucking around here, ladies and gentlemen. We are just going up from Gabumon to Garurumon to Garurumon to MetalGarurumon to Omnimon. And there's no other Digimon other than, I suppose, a Digitama in the deck. So what we've got here is we are actually playing the one that came around in EX1. When you Digivolve, you gain 1 memory for every 4 cards in your hand. Again, if you're thinking you're going to be having 8 cards in hand here because you've got your draw power and you're constantly Digivolving up and replacing the cards in hand so you're never going down, then yeah, this is going to work very nicely indeed. You're going to basically be Digivolving your level 6 as a 2-cost, which is clearly a good thing. Then when attacking, if you have 8 or more cards in your hand and a Tamer in play, you return one of your opponent's Digimon with an on-deletion effect to the bottom of its owner's deck. And sure, it's not going to work for every Digimon. I just told you it only works for a Digimon that has an on-deletion effect. But the fact of the matter is, there's a lot of those out at the moment that are doing pretty well and seeing a bunch of play. And every turn you get to get rid of one of them? Sounds pretty good to me, ladies and gentlemen. Sounds pretty good to me. Like I've said, we are still relying here on being able to have 8 cards in hand, which is why the whole deck is built around evolution rather than playing cards. It's why we got that draw power we saw a moment ago. I'm still a little skeptical, but this is clearly working, so I suppose I should really just be trying the deck out at the earliest opportunity. Speaking of which, we got MetalGarurumon X-Antibody from BT9, which is unfortunately not out here yet, but this is another one of the new ones. You Digivolve it as a 1-cost from MetalGarurumon, and when you Digivolve, you unsuspend it, and it gains blocker. So you basically attack with MetalGarurumon, and then you can Digivolve for 1 memory, and then attack again with MetalGarurumon X-Antibody. Or you can set yourself up with a blocker with a whole bunch of DP, Both of these are very good results. Then on your turn, once per turn, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, which we've seen is going to happen, if you've got MetalGarurumon or X-Antibody in your Digivolution cards, you return all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level to their owner's hands. So against low-level Rookie Rush decks, for instance, it's going to wreck. Against decks which are struggling to set up, it's going to wreck. And it's still going to get something. You know, there'll be weird games where your opponent's got 2 level 6s and nothing else, and those 2 level 6s go away. That's not going to happen often, but that is something that could actually happen, and that amuses me greatly. And then we move up, and we've got Omnimon, right? It's Omnimon. We know we're going to be playing Omnimon. There are, however, a few of them here. We are specifically talking about the Omnimon that came around in BT5. And I know there were a bunch of them that was the Battle of Omni set, but I'm talking about the one which is literally just called Omnimon with no extra stuff. This digivolves as a 4-cost. When digivolving, you've got Blitz, so you can attack even if the turn would pass over to your opponent. And when digivolving, you unsuspend. And this is kind of huge, right? Because you can potentially attack with MetalGarurumon, and you could have security attack +1, remember? Then you digivolve into MetalGarurumon X-Antibody as a 1-cost, and you unsuspend. And then you attack again. And then you digivolve into Omnimon for a 4-cost, and you can attack again, even if it would pass the turn to your opponent. So as soon as you get your MetalGarurumon out, you can essentially digivolve and attack twice more, and you only need to have 1 memory for both the attacks to fire. It may well go to your opponent's turn at the end of your attack with Omnimon, but, you know, if your opponent's got 4 security remaining, you attack with MetalGarurumon and take both of them out because you got security attack +1. Then you attack and take the other 2 out with MetalGarurumon X-Antibody. Then you attack with Omnimon to win the game. This can lead to some very, very explosive turns very, very quickly. Also on all turns, if an opponent's effect would delete this Digimon or return it to its owner's hand or deck, you can prevent it from leaving play by trashing a level 6 Digimon in your Digivolution card. And because of the X-Antibody here, you can actually do this twice. Don't get me wrong, right? It is when you digivolve, you unsuspend, and you've got Blitz. That's why this is such a good card here. But being able to have a 14,000 power level 7, that if an effect would delete it, you can save it twice, that ain't bad, ladies and gentlemen. That ain't too bad. Now, I did tell you had to have a tamer for one of these skills to work. What we've got here is Davis Motor Mia from BT3. At the start of your turn, if your memory is 2 or less, it becomes free. And when you play it, you reveal the top 3 cards of your deck, and you add a blue Digimon and a green Digimon from amongst them to your hand. Now, obviously, you're not playing any green Digimon here, you're only getting a blue. But firstly, you're keeping your hand size, because you're playing a card and picking it up, which is very important in this deck. And secondly, it's extra consistency, which we've seen is something this deck is pretty gosh darn big on. Plus, it guarantees you start your turn with at least 3 memory, so that ain't too bad. Now, moving over into option cards, we do see an X-Antibody here. And, of course, we've already seen we have ways to search it out. And this is a new 0-cost option card that you can use if you've got any Digimon in play. It goes to your hand and gains your memory if you draw it as a security card. And what you basically do is place it as the bottom Digivolution card of one of your Digimon that doesn't already have an X-Antibody. It then cannot be trashed using your opponent's Digimon's Digivolution card effects. And when attacking, you can Digivolve this Digimon into a Digimon in your hand with X-Antibody in its traits by paying its Digivolution cost. So clearly it's going to work quite nicely here. And then we have one more option card. It is Blue Memory Boost, the promo card. When you play it, you reveal the top 4 cards of your deck, add a blue Digimon to your hand. So it's like we've seen on like half the deck. You're playing a card in order to search other stuff out. It is going to be great for consistency. And then there is a delay. It sits in your battle area, and at some point in the future, you can activate it to go and gain yourself a couple of memory. Hopefully on a turn where you then go and wreck. I like this deck. This is a very cool deck. It's one to get a little bit excited about, frankly. I love how it is very straightforward with one Digimon per level, but also you've got security attack, you've got lots of underspending, you've got great consistency. This strikes me as a very neat and tidy, a very well-made deck, and that makes me very happy. But I want to know what you think. I want to know if you think this is legit or whether you think it's not going to last. So let me know in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at the Wossy. That's where we talk Digimon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCGradio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching Wossy Plays.